Hi, I'm Pav.
And I'm Neil.
And welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast.
Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We live in a golden age of cinema where whatever we can imagine can be shown on the screen. What Marvel and Disney have achieved over the last decade or more has been staggering, with character-heavy, multi-string plot woven over numerous movies and mini-franchises. The MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, has done what many thought was impossible. Not all the movies have been fan favourites, but the strike rate has been impressive. Here is Hydra Agent Neil with 10 MCU facts.
Thank you very much, Pav. Let's see how many of these you two know. So, according to canon, Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, and Thor all take place in the same week.
I'm Groot.
Chris Evans turned down Captain America 3 times before taking the role, telling friends, if that movie bombs, I'm fucked.
I'm Groot.
Tom Holland wasn't given the script to Infinity War due to the fact he was known for accidentally letting slip spoilers.
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner trained with the Olympic archers to prepare himself for the role of Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Marvel originally wanted to make Daredevil a trilogy, but the lackluster performance of the first movie stopped their plans in their tracks.
I'm Groot.
Marvel didn't want Mark Ruffalo to play the Hulk. They wanted to keep Edward Norton in the role. However, after Norton fell out with Marvel, Ruffalo managed to get it. And Jon Favreau was originally hired to make Captain America a movie before landing the Iron Man director role.
I'm Groot.
Stan Lee admitted in 2009 that he'd love to play Odin. Alas, it went to Anthony Hopkins. And in an early draft of the Avengers Age of Ultron, Captain Marvel was going to make her first appearance. The cameo was later scrapped when Kevin Feige believed Carol deserved her own origin movie.
I'm Groot.
And Baby Groot's dancing scene in the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 took nearly 2 years to put together.
I'm Groot.
Do you know who did the motion capture for that?
No.
It was director James Gunn.
Was it?
It was.
Oh,
I'm sure
yeah.
our guest knew that because our guest is a superhero expert as well as a multi-talented musician and also a dad. Oh my God. So much has happened since we last spoke. It's Rob Johnson coming to join us. Hello, Rob.
Hi guys, yeah, lots happened. There's been this thing called a global pandemic as well.
What was that? That must have passed me by.
Yeah. I've got various things here that I feel like at some point I'm going to have to. I don't know whether I needed to start off wearing this or
I mean,
just to prove my credentials.
Yeah, you should never cover that face. I mean, that's the way. If you were a superhero in the movie, you'd be like they do all the time now, is that you have to take the mask off to show the face all the time. You know. But you've got, it's a nice Iron Man mask.
That just reminds me when we used to do our live shows and John used to accompany us with music on stage, wore an Iron Man mask, didn't he, when we did a superhero, and we tried, do you remember this? We tried to stick those switch on lights on his eyes. So he and realised that he couldn't see his guitar.
Yeah, simpler times.
It was.
So you're obviously a super hairy fan. Christ, I nearly said it back from the old days.
Yes, I indeed have a shave. You're right.
Yeah.
Indeed. Is MCU your sweet spot in regards to?
I love it. I think all the way from, when we had like sort of the early two around Avengers 1 and then those first few after it, where I was just like, I remember distinctly thinking in Iron Man 3, why isn't the Hulk coming to the end of this? Like at the end or something like that. And when it was all like that, you had one character coming into the next and just the potential of it. And then obviously now it's gone completely, nuts. Even more like with the Disney Plus show, it's almost getting hard to keep up with. But no, I love it when it's done right, it's the best type of movies for me.
Yeah. So if I was to quickly ask you then, Rob, what has been your worst MCU movie?
Wow. You know what? Easy. Eternals.
Okay. I still haven't watched that yet. Keep getting put off it. But
Yeah.
I might actually agree. I might actually agree with that. To be perfectly honest, it felt a little bit like when you watch Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. It's names and places that you don't have any context for, that you don't know who they're talking about or what they're doing, and they all just seem to, whatever they had against them, it was the same powers that they seemed to just try and get away with to fight whatever they were fighting. And it just got a little bit boring for me.
Yeah.
I will let you know in due course, probably in the next few years. I'll get round to it.
But we're not here to talk about the worst of the MCU. We're here to talk about the top 10 of the MCU. So, Rob, it's up to you to give us your number 10.
Okay, my number 10 is Iron Man 1.
Ooh, okay.
Now, I've got a thing here. I've got 2 at number 10. I wasn't sure whether I allowed them, but Iron Man was at my number 10. But I'll talk to you in a minute. I'll let Rob talk about Iron Man.
That's my number 7. That's my number 7. Is the original Iron Man, yeah.
Yeah, my reasoning was it's you can't have a top 10 without that one. And I think there are 9 others that are at least better. But that was the one obviously that set the tone for the whole MCU and everything that followed. And I think actually when you look back at it, I remember at the time, because it came out the same year as Dark Knight, and everyone was excited for Dark Knight. And obviously Dark Knight was what it was, but like Iron Man has lasted this long, where he's still mentioned in things, and what is it now, 14 years later. So I just think the impact of that film is why I would have it there.
I have to admit, I knew of Iron Man, obviously, from the youth and reading the comics, but I wasn't overly sure about his whole history. And it was quite nice to see that start again. It filled me in with more than what I knew about Iron Man going forward. And it was a good start movie, wasn't it? It was a good place to get its footings.
I think we should say before we carry on is that we will be spoiling stuff. I think that's the best. There's no point sort of pussyfooting around any plot points or anything in any of the movies that we talk about. So it will be full spoilers. So when Tony Stark died, I think when I look back and watch Iron Man now, what I love the fact is they were planting the seeds right from that first movie, which I think is the thing that Kevin Feige, that's how you say it, I think, isn't it? Kevin Feige.
Yep.
He knew exactly what was going to happen, in this phase, maybe in the next phase. I mean, if Iron Man had been a complete blowout, a complete flop, who knows whether they would maybe have gone on with a few more different ones and still tried it or not. But I think Tom Cruise was originally, I think, touted for Tony Stark.
Yeah, he was. He absolutely was. But he didn't.
But you can't think of anyone else but Robert Downey. Same with all of the characters, I think, in MCU, that they cast the movies perfectly.
But then when I was looking up the facts, there was a long fact all about Robert Downey Jr. and Marvel really didn't want him because of his past.
They couldn't get any insurance for him, could they?
No, they really didn't want him. It was Favreau that saved his hide.
So if you look, even, what I was saying about how influential it was. Look what Jon Favreau is doing now with Book of Boba Fett and all the Star Wars stuff. Like, he really is, in terms of popular culture, he's molded it for all the rest of us.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
But him and Will Ferrell don't get on, apparently.
Oh, really?
Apparently so. That was one of the reasons why Will Ferrell turned down 27 million or whatever it was for Elf 2, was because they didn't get on.
Oh, I didn't know that. There you
go. See,
I
have my finger on the pulse of Hollywood, just to let you all know.
So
I don't
going back to my number 10 just quickly, it is Iron Man, but I was originally going to put Blade, but I wasn't sure whether Blade's officially in the MCU because they're rebooting it, isn't there? So I crossed it out and put Iron Man.
I'm not sure whether I don't think, I don't know. Blade's a bit of that was Marvel. That was a Marvel Studios movie.
Yeah, so I did push it away because he's in the next,
He will be, yeah.
he will be. So, he's been cast in that. So that's why I crossed it out. But
Okay, so Iron Man is your number 10.
To Blade.
Iron Man is your number 10.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right, okay. Right, okay then. So my number 10 is Iron Man 3. Now, this seems to get a lot of... I don't know how you guys feel about Iron Man 3. Rob, what do you feel about it?
I like it. But I liked Iron Man too. So.
Right. Okay, Neil?
It was good. I just felt the villain, Guy Pearce, in it was weak, and it should have been the Mandarin straight through. That was the only thing. The Mandarin. I wasn't a big fan first watching that reveal that he was just an actor and Slattery was his name. I wasn't a fan of that, but it's all right now.
I find that hilarious. I thought that was like just a genius thing.
I just thought it was too much of a rug pull for me.
I don't know, but it's also it's a typical Shane Black movie. Just a lot of the writing in it, with the henchmen, the way that they are, like the one guy's like when the other henchmen have all been like dispatched, and he just thought, "Oh, I don't like working here," and runs away.
Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. And the humor in it, I thought, was really, really good. But also the underlying fact that Tony Stark, because of Avengers, has got PTSD and is really struggling. And I don't think it gets the love that it deserves. I really don't, in regards to it.
It feels like a small film, doesn't it, when you watch it? I know it wasn't, and it isn't at the end, but it does feel like quite an intimate movie, doesn't it? When he's at the shed with the boy and all of that, it's a different approach.
Yeah,
that boy who no one remembered in the end of End Game at the funeral. It's just
that's right. Everyone thinks, who the hell's that lanky piece of shit there? Well, how did he get a ticket to the funeral? Because Tony Stark died. No spoilers. Right then, Rob, you're number 9.
Oh, number 9 and number 8, very close. I don't want to spoil but basically it's Captain America: Civil War, and I put it at 9 because it's purely because I've seen it so many times.
That's my number 3.
That's my number 5.
I think it's brilliant, but I just like this. I like others more, and I just have seen it to death. So, but I mean, I love what happened in it. I think that's the one that gave us really Infinity War and Endgame, because I think while the Russos were doing that, that's when they got they were signed up for the 3 and 4. The splash page image of the fight at the airport is awesome. Sort of the first time, it was, even in our heads, it was possible that all these characters could come together. And I think it's kind of overlooked a little bit now by what came afterwards. But I would say, I bet it's sort of purely because I've seen it so many times that it's lower. It's not to say it's a brilliant film.
I think that was the thing. The one thing that the MCU and Marvel and Disney have done is they always up the ante. So originally, when they started doing the Captain America, Thor movies, Iron Man, you think, well, there's no way putting them all, those all together in a movie is going to work, and they did it with Avengers. Then with Civil War, you're bringing in Spider-Man and you're bringing in Black Panther. Well, there's no way that's going to work, and it did. And then when it came to, End Game, it was just something where you think, my God, there is no space left on this massive screen for anybody, because they've thrown all that shit at the screen.
Yeah, wait for Secret Wars in like 3 years' time.
Well, this is it. This is the thing that worries me a little bit, in the fact that now, how do you top Endgame? You end up having to put in multiverses and maybe Spider-Man versus Spider-Man, or a different. So it's going to be. But then where do you go after that?
They'll do it though. They will.
Oh, well, that's the thing. You know they will. So
you haven't Galactus yet. Boom.
Exactly. And then you can fold in Fantastic Four and the X-Men now, and all of those, okay. That sort of answered my own question. Go on then, Neil, you're number 9.
Is Black Panther. I thought this was a refreshing film, a refreshing change, and Chadwick Boseman was superb in the role, and we must honour and pay our respects to the guy. I mean, it was such a shock, wasn't it, when he went? But anyway, yeah, Black Panther for an origin story, I just loved it. It sucked you in. It was nice to see the first black superhero get the justice it deserved. And what did it do? Went on to smash over $1 billion at the box office, didn't it? So yeah, I think it's a great comic book movie. Exactly what it says in I just said. It's visually stunning, great story. Ryan Coogler, I've got a lot of time for that guy. He makes some great movies, I think. He's not doing Black Panther 2 though, is he? I thought he might.
Yeah.
He is still on it, is he?
Yeah.
I thought I read somewhere that he dropped, but
no,
maybe not.
No, he hasn't. He did the original Creed, didn't he? And then he didn't direct. The second
which I think is a great movie.
Or the third one, Michael B. Jordan is directing.
Right.
I believe.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I just love it. I just think it's a great movie. It's one I can put on quite happily and just sit and plow through. Yeah. Okay. Didn't make both of your top 10s then?
Yeah, it's my number 6.
Ah, there you go.
Okay. So what have you got to say about it then, Rob?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was just fantastic. It has that film has a rhythm. And not just in terms of like music, but it's popping off the screen. I just remember being in the cinema, coming out and like feeling, wow, what have we just? It was a revolutionary film. Can't wait for the next one. And
it'd be interesting to see what they do as well, won't they?
He passed away, and I'm really intrigued as to what they're going to do. I'm assuming it'll be Shuri, but who knows? I mean,
it was very close to my top 10, I must admit, but I have to say this top 10 that I compiled was one of the quickest top 10s that I've done in the 29 episodes that we've done. It really fell into place really quickly, and I think the 10 I had came really quick. There were like 2 or 3 that could have popped in, and Black Panther being one of them.
And a little fact, the Wakandan language is a real language. There you go.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much for that.
Well, the facts today, aren't you?
Goodness me. I only asked for 10 facts. I don't need 11.
So many facts about the MCU.
We're gonna have to change our brand if you're giving me 11 facts. We're gonna have to be the top 11 of everything. Which in that case, then Black Panther would have been in my top 11. So then,
there's so many facts on the MCU. That's the thing. There really is. There's hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah. Okay, my number 9 is Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, that's my number 7.
My number 5.
Oh, look at that. We hit the bingo with that one. Rankar Cock, I've just written down. I tried to write it quick. What was that, yours, Neil?
In that version.
What was your number, Neil?
7.
Number 7, right. Ragnarok. Yeah, it's I wasn't a massive fan of it the first time I watched it. Came out of the cinema and felt a little bit underwhelmed. And I don't know why. I really don't know why, because every time I've watched it since, it's just genius. Just the whole feel of the film is like check your brain at the door. This is going to be just like loads of fun. The very first scene when he's with, I can't remember the name of the... Thank you very much. Yeah. And he's just spinning in that cage, and like every time it's just... I just really, really enjoy it every time I watch it now. And I don't know why. I must have been in a mood or something when I went and saw it the original time. And I can remember coming out and my wife saying to me, "What do you think of that?" I went, "That was a bit no, wasn't it?" But yeah, every time I've watched it since, it's by far my favorite Thor movie. And I think that Taika Waititi has just got, because he's supposed to be working on a Star Wars film, and it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of mood that's a Star Wars film done by him is going to be.
But he's already done an episode of Mandalorian, hasn't he?
He did, absolutely, yes, because he did the voice for IG-11, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, and because I was thinking, what's this going to be like? But remember those 2 stormtroopers, or what? I can't remember what, but they're on the bikes, and it's just hilarious. It was like, wow. So I think he's genius. I hear what you're saying about the tone, but I think it's just once you click with that tone, then you get that movie instantly. And then on rewatches, it's just better and better. And I can't wait for the next one's going to be all out, and I think it'll be amazing.
Yeah,
The visuals were almost very camp, weren't they? If you know what I mean.
yeah, it was.
They really were. It was
the gaudy colours and Jeff Goldblum just totally hamming it up.
Actually, just the fact that Jeff Goldblum was in it, that did it for me.
Yeah.
Glorious.
Well, we just got to hope Taika Waititi doesn't include his girlfriend now, Rita Ora. There you are. That's who he's seeing.
Oh, is that his
so as long as she
girlfriend,
doesn't become Princess Leia or whatever, yeah, that's his girlfriend.
I mean, what can I say about that? I mean, like I don't think he's made a bad movie yet. I mean, Jojo Rabbit was phenomenal.
Hilarious.
Hunt for the Wilder People, is it, or Wild something like that? It's just a beautiful film. It's just a beautiful film.
What We Do in the Shadows is probably one of
what
the
we do in the shadows is just great as well. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. Rob, you're number 8.
Captain America: Winter Soldier.
That's exactly the same as mine, number 8.
And I put this ahead of Civil War just because I've seen it slightly less, but it deserves a place in the top 10 because it's obviously brilliant. I don't think the first Captain America, it did what it needed to do, but this one blew everything apart. It was, when it came out, it got amazing reviews, and also the reveal halfway through about S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything blew apart the MCU, everything we knew about it. It was just great, really. It's just a really great thriller action movie. It's really good.
To me, it's when Marvel grew up, if you know what I mean. It seems like their first, comic book for adults, if you know what I mean.
Just a bit more edgy, wasn't it? And it was like a political thriller rather than a superhero movie, if you like.
And Robert Redford, eh?
Robert Redford.
What a casting.
Robert Redford, yeah. Although it's not in my top 10, I didn't. I like it, but I'm not. It's weird because, like, I say that I do like it. There isn't very many Marvel movies I don't like, apart from like the new phase, which is what I'm struggling to sort of really get a grip with. But then to think that I've put Iron Man 3 ahead of Winter Soldier, when I think about it in the cold light of day,
that would be a somewhat controversial choice.
Somewhat, yeah.
I thought Winter Soldier is nailed on in the top 10.
Yeah, well, that's your opinion, Rob, isn't it? And it's not wrong. It's not. I'm not having a go. I'm just. I'm just saying. But then I'm thinking about it now in the cold light of day, and thinking, if someone said to me, which movie do you prefer, Iron Man 3 or Winter Soldier, I would probably have to think a little bit more harder. In the fact of which one I would think. No, I'm sticking with Iron Man 3. I'm going to stick with Iron Man 3. Okay. All right, so that was your number 8 as well, Neil.
It was.
My number 8 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I've got a love affair with Guardians of the Galaxy. I think I've got a love affair with James Gunn just straight away with anything that he does. Everything that he does seems to be, when you find yourself in the groove, like maybe especially with music, you find yourself in the groove of someone. It doesn't matter what they do. You just love what they do. I think I'm like that with James Gunn. Even on some of his movies that are a little bit more out there. I can't remember the name of the one. It was an office block.
Oh,
and they all got shot. They got shut down, didn't they? And they all ended up killing each other.
That's it.
I can't remember the name of that movie, but it was mad. But it gory as anything, but really, really enjoyable. Which sounds horrible when it's as gory as anything. People just killing each other. And also the Suicide Squad, I really enjoyed. Compared to the shit that the first one was. The first 10 minutes completely blows you away from what you thought the movie was going to be. Spoilers, because everyone dies pretty much. Everyone's gets shot in the face or get their just blown up to bits. So the fact that I love the Guardians of the Galaxy as a franchise, if you like, number 2 had so much heart and soul in it, and then the twist of Ego and what his plan is just breaks me every time I watch it. And the way he uses music is very sort of Tarantino-esque, I think, but he seems to use perfect music. The Fleetwood Mac, the Chain, the way he uses that with slow motion in that movie is absolutely perfect. And it's number 8.
And Baby Groot.
Baby Groot. Baby
My-
Groot. I mean, what a perfect way to sell a shit ton of pop figures. I've got 2 of them up on my thing there that are Baby Groot. Can't beat it. Yeah. So not in your top. The rest of your. okay, interesting. Okay, right then, Rob, you're number 7.
Right. Well, this one originally it would be Spider-Man: Homecoming because I love Spider-Man: Homecoming, but I think you have to say now No Way Home because I think it does eclipse it. So I'm gonna say Spider-Man: No Way Home because it's
okay. That's my number 6,
and that's my number 4.
Yeah. So yeah, I loved Spider-Man: Homecoming, but obviously No Way Home has everything you could possibly want in a Spider-Man film, times 3. So yeah, no, it was brilliant. I've only seen it once. Can't wait to see it again. And I think as well, just the time it came for everybody. Like obviously, it made it. I think it was last time I heard the 4th highest grossing film of all time. So it is like that big film after the pandemic that got people to go to cinemas again. Even though everyone knew that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were going to be in it, that was still magical, and everyone was cheering in the cinema. It was glorious. I loved that Daredevil was in it. I wish that John Campea hadn't put those pictures out because I don't know if you were spoiled, but
he got a lot of crap for that as well, didn't he? To be perfectly honest, I don't think he got an invite to the red carpet premiere because of that.
But I feel like that did for a lot of people. Like, all right, well, not necessarily the fact that 3 Spider-Men were in it because everyone knew that, but the fact that Matt Murdock is in that film. But yeah, and it was also weird that it came out on the same day that Kingpin was in Hawkeye. I don't know if that was meant to be or not, but it's like wow. But yeah,
well, it did seem to me like that the Hawkeye TV series was linked in a few ways to No Way Home, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Rogers musical stuff.
There was something else. I can't remember what it was. There was definitely a couple more, like little. Well, like, the fact that they've now brought Kingpin, that Kingpin, the Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin, and what's the guy who plays Matt Murdock? What's his name?
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox. Of course, you remember that name, Neil, wouldn't you?
He was in Stardust, my darling.
He was in Stardust, indeed, he was. But so I'm assuming then doesn't that make that TV series canon now?
Well, they could be variants, couldn't they?
I suppose they could. See, that's the way that they get around it.
Anything's possible now, so
that's absolutely true. Yeah, I must admit, the one thing that I was disappointed with that movie, and I get caught with it every time when you see trailers and then you watch the videos of people, like we used to do, Neil, where you look at the trailer and you look at every frame and you think, right, that bit is this and that bit is that. But right at the end, when Doctor Strange is when he says, I can't, they're all coming through and I can't, I really thought it was going to be things like Thanos is going to come and all these other different, but then it ended up being nothing. There was just shapes, and then all of a sudden, they just, and that was a real disappointment.
Yeah, all this stuff happens, then everything goes back to normal. But this one little thing has changed, even though it's quite a big thing. That's how they move it along, isn't it? I thought it was going to be X-Men. Or Fantastic Four. You get suckered into watching those YouTube videos before it, and then you just. Yeah, we should have learned from Rise of Skywalker and all that. You just can't.
I keep saying to myself, I am not going to get sucked in. And as we're recording this, I got sucked in with the last episode, the Book of Boba Fett as well. And I watched it. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. But you think, why do I get sucked in? You know, I mean, like I say, we used to do those videos where we look at trailers and go, well, maybe it's that. And it's never what they think it is. You always it's like over complicate it in your brain when I bet even the guys writing it never thought of the stuff that the fans are thinking about. But
that's why I'm quite looking forward to the Batman, because I've steered clear of that. Not even intentionally, I just have. And so, I mean, I know, the normal amount, but not in depth. I haven't been watching new Rockstars videos about it every other day.
I've been sort of the same, trying to keep away from it just to keep away from it, really. Right, okay then. So that's your number 7, Rob. No, your number 7, Neil, was Ragnarok.
It was.
My number 7 is the original Iron Man. So I already talked about that, didn't I? Yes.
Yeah.
Rob, your number 6 is Black Panther. So Neil, your number 6.
Avengers Assemble, or Avengers in America.
All right,
John's number 3.
That's my number 3.
My number
It's
3.
obviously where the big guns came out, didn't it? Joss Whedon hit a home run with that one. It was a great start to seeing all your favorite superheroes together. I mean, it's a shame he's dipped off with his directing and attitude and everything. Whedon, isn't he? I mean, I've got no time really. We talked earlier to Rob about worst movies. Avengers: Age of Ultron might be in my top worst movies. There's too much I don't like about that, but Avengers it was a home run. It was great. Everything in it was fantastic. It was what a way to get an ensemble piece, wasn't it, to work. They really did make it work, and it holds up well still today. I was thinking some of the CGI might be a bit ropey, but compared to Age of Ultron, it stands up a lot better.
For me, it's on that list of one of a perfect movie. There is so much that movie does that you think isn't possible. I mean, the thing is, you look at it now and it doesn't feel like much because of what they've done
on afterwards.
With probably each movie as it goes on, especially each Avengers movie. But for me, it's one of the most fun times I've had at a cinema. Watching that first Avengers movie,
because like you said before, we had no expectation, or we didn't know what at all to see what we were going to see up on the big screen, apart from the clip here and a clip there.
Yeah,
and when you saw it all together, it was almost breathtaking, wasn't it?
Genuine laugh out loud. I mean, Hulk smash moment, and off he goes. Hulk, puny god with Loki, when he's just throwing him about like a rag doll. There are so many moments in that just is a fantastic time at the cinema.
And controversy as well. We always like a bit of controversy with Loki's Quim comment.
Oh yeah,
that caused a lot of
oh my god, the open mouths when he said that, you mewling Quim. Everyone went, did he just? No, he didn't just say that, did he? He did just say that.
he did.
Yeah, go on then, Rob.
No, I just think it's easy, like you touched on it, Pav, but it's easy to forget, summer of 2012 and what it was like at the cinema, and we'd never seen anything like this with, not even 2 or 3, 4, well, not 6, stars coming together, or superheroes coming together. And I just think it's easy to forget, like, but there's been so much since, and even like failed attempts like Justice League and stuff like that. But just, how important it was and how much fun it was. It's really, it's a really easy rewatch. It's just great.
And you say, like you said about the splash page for Civil War, that moment where the camera is going around all of the Avengers getting ready for battle and the music is playing is one of those, if they ever have like a montage of the greatest moments in cinema, that should be there, because it is just, I hate saying that word again, Neil, it's iconic. It's just a beautiful shot. I think for me, it's definitely one of those things where you have to separate the man from the art. I got no time for Joss Whedon and his antics that he allegedly, or whether it's been proven, I don't know, but there definitely seems to be no smoke without fire with what he got up to. But as a movie, but again, he was the darling, wasn't he? He was the geek darling of everyone, and seemed to have the geek world in his hands. I'm not such a I quite like Age of Ultron. It's not my favorite Avengers movie or MCU movie, but I think it's good in places.
I mean, I've never hated an MCU movie. There's not one that I hate that. It's just, the glaring plot holes in Age of Ultron and the awful ending. When they're just blow the fucking thing up. Don't worry about lifting it all out of the thing. He's Ultron, for Christ's sake, if you read the comics. So that was all problematic for me. And some of the CGI in Age of Ultron has not held up at all. It's ropey as. When I rewatched them all in the pandemic, and I didn't get as much out of it as when I saw it on the cinema.
The other thing with Avengers Assemble, if you think about it compared to other films, like obviously in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're going to do this type of thing, but they've got a lot of mileage out of the Avengers film. Even just like in the beginning of Hawkeye, obviously in End Game and stuff like that. And Just the way it's, the self-referential stuff that they do. It's really, I mean, this is why I think people love it so much, because they are doing genuinely different things that we've never seen before and keep moving it onward while looking back at the same time. And that's why I guess the whole thing stays alive, and Iron Man is still as relevant today as it was in 2008.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. So that was your number 6, Neil.
That's it.
So my number 6 was Spider-Man No Way Home. So Rob, your number 5 was Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So back to you then, Neil. Your number 5
is Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
That's my number 4.
Yeah.
This is going to go quick because we've all.
It is. I had no idea what Guardian. I've heard of them in passing. I sort of had a vague idea. I knew there was a raccoon in it and all sorts of things like that, but I didn't know much. And going into that cinema and seeing that for the first time, and the soundtrack, like you've already pointed out in the second one, I just think it's a very, very good movie. It's well put together, and it introduces to the characters brilliantly. So yeah, it's a great movie to me.
One of the greatest opening trailers I think I've ever seen of a movie, because it's a movie, like you say, I knew nothing about the comic book. So watching that first trailer, hearing about Chris Pratt, but not really knowing a lot about him, knowing that he was this doughy looking bloke from some comedy that was made by the people that did The American Office, and then seeing that he's all like chiseled and cut and got abs, and I mean, that's a bit weird. And then there's a tree and there's a raccoon in it, and you think, well, this how can this work? And it was because of this movie that I thought, well, then the MCU can do no wrong, because if they can make you care and shed tears for a tree and a raccoon at the end of the movie, when he says, we are Groot at the end, and he sort of covers them all with his branches and stuff. I think, well, there's literally nothing that they can do that I'm always going to be touched by what they do, because they know how to do it. So I agree with that. Rob?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you're saying. It's an example of them. I mean, they've always taken risks or calculated risks, but that was a genuine, like, all right. I mean, not even just terms of what it like, just can CGI make a convincing tree or talk and a raccoon talk? But no, and like you say, yes, and it was amazing. And also, it's one of those films that sort of existed outside, although you have the Thanos bit, and it is very related to the MCU, but it opened up like galactic, or the cosmic MCU. And it was really just awesome. And then it was really exciting in Infinity War. It's like, wow, the Guardians of the Galaxy are in this as well, because obviously by then they'd had 2 films. It was just amazing, really. And Groot was fantastic. I love him.
Yeah, that moment when he is fighting that line of guards, and he just sticks straight through them and starts smacking them side to side on that corridor, and then he looks back at like Star-Lord with his smile on his face. There's again genuine like belly laughs in that movie, but it can one minute be belly laugh, and the next minute you're sort of, your bottom lip is quivering because you're just about to cry over a load of pixels on a screen.
It's got a lot of heart, maybe the most heart of any Marvel movie so far.
And again, brilliant use of music, the ooka chaka, ooka chaka, with our friend Spencer Wilding, Neil.
It did have Spencer Wilding.
Spencer Wilding.
Although that song you just sang does remind me more of Reservoir Dogs than it does of Guardians, I'm afraid.
Do you think so?
Yeah, to me, because I've seen Reservoir a lot more than I have Guardians. But a little fact, Vin Diesel was for the voice of Groot. When he did Baby Groot, he didn't have any voice enhancers. That is Vin Diesel.
Is it?
There you go. There's another fact.
I mean, what an actor.
Where are you pulling these out of?
I got lists of the fucking things.
I mean, they're on the top of your head.
No, well, they are, because it took me ages to do those facts, because I kept reading them for my own pleasure, if you know what I mean. But,
I love watching the behind the scenes when it's showing Vin Diesel recording his "I am Groot" lines, and he's talking about it like it's Shakespeare, and he's performing it like it's Shakespeare. Now, I'm not gonna have a go at him or whatever, but as Star-Lord said, it's just three. All he says is, "I am Groot."
Yeah,
I'd love
but
to
they
know how much he
wrote
got paid
it
for that.
as if it was the dialogue he was replying to, and then he had to say that and then transcribe that into "I am Groot."
Jesus,
So in
another
style.
fact, Neil.
There you
For
go.
crying out loud, slow down,
Well,
man.
you've watched behind the scenes. You should have seen that bit.
I never saw that bit. I haven't
Oh,
seen
there
that.
you
No,
go.
I never saw that bit at all. But there you go. Well, look at that. So let me. So what was that? That was your number 5. So Rob's number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Neil's number 4 is Spider-Man: No Way Home. My number 4 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Rob's number 3 is Avengers Assemble. Neil's number 3 is Captain America: Civil War. My number 3 is Avengers Assemble. So Rob, what is your number 2?
Avengers End Game.
Okay.
So that's a spoiler to what my number 1 is.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's hard to say without spoiling what my number 1 is. But I just
I think everybody knows.
Yeah, I think I would be very surprised if all 3 of us haven't got the same as number 1 and number 2.
To be honest, I was very undecided. I didn't know which way to go. When I first watched Endgame, I preferred Infinity War. I much preferred it.
Let's just talk about
openly
Infinity War and Endgame. I think that's the best way.
They're a package.
Oh, well, there you go.
There
See,
you go. All over. Click
Rob's
your
got
fingers.
a big, massive fist full of diamonds.
Shut up. Sorry. Infinity War is my number 1 because it's just, I love it. Every time you watch it, it takes you on that journey. Like, yeah. I think the bit that really gets me is when Doctor Strange portals into the park, and then the look on Tony's face, and you're like, yeah, this shit is real. And then boom, he's explaining Thanos, and oh my god, we've watched this for 10 years. Now it's all happening. Now they know about Thanos. Because I was like watching those films from Guardians, looking, because I knew who Thanos was in Avengers Assemble, and I was like, is this really going to happen? And then the little glimpses you saw of him gradually looked better, and then looked amazing in Infinity War. I don't know. I just think if you think about what it has to do and what it's trying to do and how it actually achieves it all so well, and then it has the cliffhanger. Again, I'd read the comics, so I knew what I thought it was going to end with, that and half the world dying. And so I wasn't necessarily surprised, but I was kind of shocked that they'd actually done it. I loved the way at the end, like when it said Avengers Infinity War, and they did kind of like, because you're expecting the post credits and it just dusts off. Like, Thanos will return. Like, what? We had to wait a year. But just thank God it wasn't in the pandemic time.
Oh my God, yeah.
It would have been awful, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think me and my brothers, we saw Infinity War like 4 times in a week or something crazy. It's just I love it. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So Neil, is yours the opposite way around?
I've put Endgame and primarily just because of that well, you've spoken about it already, when they all appear, every one of them appear at the end. It is a movie moment, that's gone down in history and will stay there. And I think that just edged it for me. Just rewatching it and seeing that moment again, I realized that that's a magical moment, isn't it?
I think it's I've said it before. The first, well, no, I think I went and saw it 4 or 5 times in the cinema, Endgame.
Yeah.
And every single time I was looking for people to go with, do you want to go and see Endgame? Come on, let's go and see Endgame. Just because I wanted to see it again. And that moment when it's on your left, when the Falcon is just clicking in Captain America's ear, and then the little portal opens and Black Panther walks through it. I had a massive smile on my face, but just tears just streaming down my face, because it was like happy, not happy, sad, but a happy, like they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And then all the portals opened. Oh my God. And then when Mjolnir goes back into, Avengers Assemble. Oh, fucking hell, here we go.
Yeah.
And you think it is one of those moments, apart from Star Wars moments, it is the greatest moment in cinema. I think it just is. And I know that people would say, no, but it's nothing but CGI on the screen and it's just computers. It doesn't matter. There is what would have been, I suppose, it would have been 10 years at that moment, 10, 11 years when that came out. I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Of setting up with each individual movie and end credit scene all culminating in the whatever it was 15 minutes of that movie, but in that one shot where all the portals have opened and all those characters that you've grown to love and cherish and you don't want to die, it is absolutely magical. Absolutely. I mean, Infinity War is a great setup to what they've, when it's not a setup, it's what they lose. And the fact that the first half an hour of Endgame is showing them lose again, what a fucking gut punch that is. The fact that you think, all right, well, they're back, so they're gonna work it out, and then the fact that Tony loses everything in the end. But what you were saying about that one moment when Doctor Strange walks through that portal in Infinity War, for me, the moment that always gets me now is during the final battle when Doctor Strange looks at Tony and just puts his one finger up. Now, I've had people where they've said that they thought that means certain things, but for me, that means this is the one time that we win. And Tony knows what he's got to do, and he knows that he's going to die. That for me is beautiful, because then that means Tony Stark has had this 10-year arc where at the start of it, he was a selfish playboy billionaire that didn't give a shit about anybody, just selling guns and weapons, to then sacrificing himself for everybody on the planet and everybody on the universe. I mean, fucking hell, what an arc. What an arc to have in movies.
Huge, isn't it? It's absolutely huge.
Oh, I need to watch it again. I do. It's definitely, I think it's in my top 5 movies of all time. I think Endgame.
I like to just clump them together because you can't have one without the other.
Yeah,
really,
it is tough. Yeah, I mean, it's close between one and two. But I something about Infinity War I just love. That would mean I would choose it for.
I sort of know what you mean. I felt the same way in Lord of the Rings. Everybody seems to love like Two Towers and that, but I'm all the Fellowship of the Ring. I love that build in that sort of movie. So that grows with me, those sort of things.
I must admit, 15 minutes ago, I thought this was going to be the first in 29 episodes where everybody had the same number one. I really thought, Rob, you were going to have Endgame as your number one. So we still haven't had like a perfect, all three of us at number one. No. I mean, I think this one's as close as it's going to be, I think, because...
Well, because I was back and forth. I kept changing it. The scribble's out on my sheet here because I've gone back and forth.
Endgame was the first one that I put in my top 10 at number one. It was never going to be anything else but Endgame for me. Because of how I felt in the cinema. And even now, I remember my daughter, it must have been on Sky, or I was watching it on Disney Plus or whatever it was. And it was halfway through, and my daughter came and sat down. She hadn't seen Infinity War, but she sat down with Endgame, and she was crying at the end when Tony Stark died. And then she looked over at me, and I was crying, and I'd seen it like 8-9 times or whatever it was. And like, she didn't have any of the context of what had happened before. We're not a massive Marvel fan. She hasn't watched loads of the films, but it got her, and that was just her sitting down halfway through the film and watching it. So they know what they're doing at Marvel. That's the thing.
Wow. That's so far so good, isn't it?
Yeah, you sit that how going into Spider-Man, like when you go to the cinema and it's one of those big films, and there's always like, oh, is it going to be is it going to be shit?
Yeah,
but with Marvel that you're in safe hands. Like with Endgame, like the first, like the music that plays over it was the Hawkeye bit, and when Thanos snaps.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And same with Infinity War, just to start. It's just, I don't know. You are in safe hands with the MCU. Less so now with the TV shows where everything is being spread a little bit thin. But it's probably inevitable.
It's all still in the same frame, isn't it? It's all in the same framework. It's all still, I think, got the same curtain around it where it's being pushed in a certain direction. like I said before, my only thing is that I find it hard to engage with the new characters they've got. I think because I've been so in with Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. I'm finding like it's really hard to engage with like Shang-Chi and the Eternals. I mean, I think the Spider-Man was definitely something that gave me a bit more of a boost because Doctor Strange was in it.
I'm still getting over Harry Styles being Thanos' brother. I mean, I'm sure I've watched enough videos now that it's justified it in my head on like new rock stars, or whatever. But
yeah,
at this time, I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, obviously the next few movies that are coming out is Thor: Love and Thunder, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So it is a lot of the established characters, and like you said before, the introduction of like X-Men and Fantastic Four coming up is going to make it a lot more interesting again. So I just don't know whether if it goes way big. I don't know. I don't know whether you're going to get that same feeling like I did in End Game.
Yeah, you will.
I'm sure I will. I'm
Avengers
sure.
5 in 2020. What we are now 22. It's got to be what 2024, 2025. Yeah, you will, because we won't have had anything since like DC aren't going to do anything.
No.
Yeah.
What's the next Marvel out as we speak?
I think it's Doctor Strange, isn't it?
The second Doctor Strange.
I think it's Doctor Strange, and then it's Thor, I think.
Oh no, well, yeah, or Moon Knight is technically the next.
Oh, the
Moon
series,
Knight, yeah.
That looks intriguing. That really does.
Yeah, I mean they're doing well. I think that. I mean, I thought the Loki TV series was really interesting, which opened up a lot of things. Hawkeye was a bit, for me. I thought it was okay. I don't know what you.
I enjoyed Hawkeye more than I did Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier and the Falcon.
Oh, same. I didn't like Falcon and Winter Soldier at all.
No, it's very average, that one.
Because really, all you needed, and that was right. Here is the new Captain America. I mean, I don't know. It's just there were things like I didn't like the who's the baddie who was in Solo. I don't know her name.
Oh, Donald Glover. No,
that character. I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
It was too much. I didn't really enjoy, but the reveal of Falcon as Captain America was amazing. But yeah,
I think the thing with that one is I'm sure they've consciously worried about the people that aren't going to watch the TV series. So it needs, because if you look at that at the end of End Game, the old Cap, if you like, gives the Falcon the shield. By the end of the TV series, he's got the shield. So you don't have to have seen that movie, the TV series, to know what's going on with the Falcon. So I don't know. The trouble they've got with that then is if they're going to start having more TV series, they have to make sure that the run through the line going through all of the the different multiverses or whatever it is still lines up. If for people that haven't seen it, but then again, how many people that have watched No Way Home? I mean, I suppose they'll go back and maybe watch the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man because they might not have been alive when the original Spider-Man came out. Maybe it picks up new fans. I don't know.
Be interesting to see.
Well, we shall find out, won't we? Somebody somewhere is in a little room in the Disney offices working it all out. Well, Kevin Feige probably, with a big massive blackboard or something with lines everywhere, like a murder scene or whatever it is when somebody trying to solve a murder where it's all like red twine going from one bit to another. He knows what's going on. Right, we got some honourable mentions. No, before we do that, let's just count down. I mean, we've done it a little bit different this week. Normally we do our countdowns before we tell you what a number one is, but obviously because of what Rob did, we're gonna do it a bit different. So just give us your rundown, Rob, from number 10 all the way to number 1.
What? Just say them out.
Or you could. I mean, you can act them out if you want to. I mean, I don't mind. You've got Iron Man mask there.
Okay, fine.
Go on then.
Iron Man, Civil War, Winter Soldier, Spider-Man: No Way Home, Black Panther, Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Assemble, Avengers End Game, Avengers Infinity War.
All right, just on our YouTube channel, what I tend to do with that is I tend to put a picture up for each one. So the pictures are just going to whiz by for that one because that was the quickest countdown. Okay, for anybody that isn't watching on YouTube now, Rob has got the Iron Man mask on and the Thanos glove. What was it called?
I'm sorry. Carry on.
Probably the first thing everybody did.
I bet it is. Go on then, Neil, give us your rundown.
So at number 10, I had Iron Man. Number 9, Black Panther. Number 8, Winter Soldier. Number 7, Thor Ragnarok. Number 6, Avengers. 5, Guardians of the Galaxy. 4, Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 3, Civil War. Number 2, Infinity War. And number 1, End Game.
Right, and I had at number 10, Iron Man 3. 9, Thor Ragnarok. 8, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 7, Iron Man. 6, Spider-Man No Way Home. 5, Captain America Civil War. 4, Guardians of the Galaxy. 3, Avengers Assemble. 2, Avengers Infinity War. And 1, Avengers End Game. Wonderful. Right, we've had some honourable mentions. So at Nowhere Andy had his at number 10, Black Panther. 9, Iron Man 3. 8, Guardians of the Galaxy. 7, Avengers. 6, Winter Soldier. 5, Civil War. 4, Thor Ragnarok. 3, Spider-Man No Way Home. 2, Infinity War. 1, Endgame. So that's pretty much. I don't think there was. You had Black Panther, both of you, didn't you?
Mm.
Okay. Kim Pennison said, "Ooh, what a great subject. I like many of these films for lots of different reasons, but my absolute go-to has to be Thor Ragnarok. I love the humor in this, and oh my god, Jeff Goldblum's character is fab. My family and I will often quote lines from this in everyday life. Hashtag Korg rules." At Kelly_Oaks said, 1, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. No, I don't know whether that's MCU, but it doesn't matter. 2, Hulk versus Abomination, and 3, Iron Man. Top 3 from 6-year-old Marvel obsessed Leo. So we'll let you off that one. Although technically, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 isn't from the MCU, but we don't care. They are wonderful choices from you, Leo. Thank you. Everyone say hello to Leo.
Hello, Leo.
Hello, Leo. And Matt Odd said, "Oh, tough one that. I'll be listening and no doubt disagreeing. Long as we all agree Thor Dark World is the weakest. Lol." So no love for Thor Dark World. I don't mind it.
That's all right.
I don't mind it, but it is. I think it is the weakest of the main Marvel movies.
Not the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
Possibly. Eternals.
And Eternals, yeah.
Which I will see.
Has any of you seen Black Widow? Not Black Widow. Yeah, is it Black Widow? Scarlet Widow? No,
Black Widow. Seen Black Widow.
Have you seen it? What
Scarlett Johansson. Yeah,
Scarlett
I enjoyed
Johansson. I thought it was a lot better than I thought it was. It wasn't anything.
It was a bit pointless, though, wasn't it?
It was pointless.
Yeah.
If they were going to do a movie like that, they should have done it 5 or 6 years ago.
But I think that was just their link, isn't it? Across, that's all. It's just bringing in a new character, Florence Pugh's character, isn't it? And all that. That's all it was. It was a start, a startup movie again.
Well, they could have done just one of those one shots like they used to if they wanted to just introduce Florence Pugh. I mean, it would have been a lot cheaper. But I do feel it's sort of like it's a way of just giving Scarlett Johansson a bit of the limelight.
Well, she was always promised her own movie, wasn't she? So
she
probably
was.
That's legally why.
Yeah, and I also think that I think that the whole pandemic didn't really help.
No, definitely not.
Did it? So there you go. Any more to say about the MCU? I think we've been very concise and to the point there with that. I think we've got some good top 10s there. All happy?
I think so. I think it's going to be amazing how many people that love the Marvel Universe will probably find that pretty much all we've got in the top 10 will be what they would have anyway. So
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at things like Ant-Man or Doctor Strange. I don't think they would, and Avengers Ultron, I think, is one of those ones that wouldn't make it into top 10s anyway.
And another little fact before we go.
Here we go.
One more. So talking of the original Avengers Assemble.
Yes.
A lot of the fanboys, the real Marvel fanboys, are upset that the Wasp isn't in it because she came up with the name The Avengers.
What
There
a
you go.
and on that bombshell, what a great way to finish. On that bombshell, Neil, we shall say thank you, Rob. It's
And we'll
lovely.
say
Been
where to
lovely
find
spending.
us.
Yeah, it's been. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's your big moment. Sorry,
No, it's
Neil.
my only.
Would you like to tell us all the information about how to get hold of us and all that gubbins?
Of course I will. I'll make it as quick and painless for Rob as I can. You can find us on all the social media at Top 10 Pods. Email us at toptenpods@hotmail.com. You can come and help support the podcast at patreon.com/Top 10 Pods, where you can get rewards such as early episodes, free, super content with videos, etc. And then
Go on,
check
Neil,
out all
keep
the
going.
links via the show.
Go on.
Check out all of our links via Linktree. You can find the link in the show notes. And please do come and subscribe. Leave us a rating review on all the podcast platforms you can find. Thank you very much.
Well done. And remember, we have got the new video playlists to go along with every episode on the Patreon as well. Rob, it's been lovely spending some time with you again. It's been
And
far
seeing
too
you.
long.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Wonderful. Come back
Pleasure.
again. Come back again. And let's do top 10 DC.
Whatever you want, mate, I'll be on.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Neil.
Thank you very much, Pav.
Thank you very much, everybody. And let's go start the countdown.
10,